Shawn Michaels saved NXT. That is the truth about the situation. If it wasn't for Shawn Michaels booking the way that he has and being put in charge of NXT at a time where the brand was arguably at its lowest point, drawing the lowest interest, drawing the lowest fanfare, drawing some of the lowest ratings that the brand had ever seen, NXT as we know it would cease to exist. However, because of Shawn Michaels and the way that he has ran NXT over the past 2 years, NXT has not only served as a vehicle for WWE's next generation of stars, it has also served as one of the most engaging and entertaining professional wrestling shows out there today. If you go back and watch NXT and what it was during the early years of NXT 2.0, that program was nearly unwatchable, with nonsensical storylines that were dragged out for no apparent reason, and booking that was right out of the Vince McMahon playbook. That makes sense considering in 2021, when Triple H suffered from heart failure and was forced to be sidelined as the head booker of NXT, Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard reportedly took over, and as soon as they did, NXT Black and Gold was dead. Gone were the days of the Undisputed Era. Gone were the days of the Ultimate Underdogs of Sami Zayn. Gone were the days where NXT served as a third brand, an alternative within the monopoly that was WWE. And there's a lot of reasons for it, namely the fact that as a third brand, as that alternative, NXT lost out in the ratings to AEW when they went head-to-head in the Wednesday Night Wars. And a large part of the reason why NXT 2.0 happened was because Vince McMahon saw NXT and saw their ratings and their war against AEW as a failure. Therefore, he saw Triple H and his run as a booker as a failure. And as unfortunate as it sounds, when Triple H was at his weakest and he had to step away from the action, that served as the perfect moment for Vince McMahon to take the reins, rein NXT in, and make it into what can only be described as an inferior product. The likes of Von Wagner and company were absolutely running rampant on the program during this time, and it was just not a great show. And you combine that with the fact that while NXT was preparing that next generation of stars, the wrestling wasn't as good, the promos were abysmal, and again, the storylines made little sense. But it wasn't until Shawn Michaels took over NXT that we got a change in that momentum, and we got an NXT that was still a developmental brand, but a developmental brand that also served as an alternative, and in many ways was exactly what NXT was supposed to be. It was precisely what WWE needed it to be. It needed it to be a place where you could have young talent go and learn about how to become a WWE superstar, learn the ropes, learn how to cut promos, get crucial TV time that would help them later on in their careers, but also a place where experienced talent could come down, work with those younger stars, and help in their development, while also allowing them a place to actually perform at a high level, and at a level that's not seen as an immediate downgrade. That is the perfect balance that NXT tried to achieve during the Triple H years, but was not able to because it was just overpowered with the amount of indie free agents they were bringing in. And this was top-level free agent talent, don't get me wrong. Adam Cole, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, the list goes on and on and on. All of these guys joined NXT, and as time went on, NXT became less and less focused on developmental and more focused on being essentially the super indie of super indies. And part of the reason why the developmental system from WWE wasn't working was because of this philosophy in NXT. But Shawn Michaels coming in and perfecting this balance, being Chef Michaels as we know him, and allowing young people like Braun Breaker, like Grayson Waller to thrive, while also allowing people like Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin to come down to NXT and again have it not be a demotion. That is exactly what this brand should be. And it's why it's so successful. NXT is having some of the best ratings they've had in a while. They're also a consistent product with storylines that make sense. And Shawn Michaels, to his credit, has done so much to improve women's wrestling and specifically prepare the next generation of women to come over to WWE and be successful, to be stars on the main roster. There is no one, you could argue, booking women's wrestling better in 2024 than Shawn Michaels. And a lot of that has to go to him. He understands exactly how to put these matches together. He understands how to tell these logical storylines. And in that way, he's the perfect guy to be heading up a developmental system for Triple H, because he also understands how Triple H is going to be viewing these stars, how Triple H wants these people when they come up to the main roster. So there's a lot to love in Shawn Michaels' booking, and you also have the undeniable fact that Shawn Michaels played a critical role in bringing over people from TNA. And ever since then, the Chef Michaels meme has been popping off. He's been cooking it up with the likes of Jordan Grace, Joe Hendry, hell, even Sexy Red got into the mix a little bit. And ever since then, Shawn Michaels has been can't miss. HBK saved NXT during a time when they needed it most. And it is just beautiful to see some of the moments that NXT has created, and just the fact that NXT right now is must watch for hundreds of thousands of people. That was not something you could say just a few years ago. That was not something you could realistically say that, hey, did you watch NXT last night? And have people take you seriously. Now it is NXT, because especially of this partnership they have with TNA, bringing in these big time talent, it has become a place to be. And the best part about this version of NXT is the possibilities to evolve the brand are endless. You have the potential to work with so many companies outside of the traditional WWE ecosystem. You have the ability to send your stars to Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan, to Joshi companies in Japan, to companies in Mexico. The partnership they've obviously developed in TNA is a big one that's helping both brands. So it's simple to see why Shawn Michaels has been such a success, and it's easy to see why there's so much optimism about NXT and the next phase of what this product can be, because for the first time in a long time, it is exciting. And that in itself is a success worthy of all of the praise, and most of that praise should go to Shawn Michaels.